and welcome along to the Cannes Lions 2022 Festival. My name is Keith Browning. I'm the brand marketing lead for LinkedIn Marketing Solutions. Delighted to be joined here today by Dalton Dorné, who is the Chief Marketing Officer of Today. How are you, Dalton?
Good, I'm great.
So today's conversation is about B2B marketing.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think you'd agree with me that B2B marketers do have this kind of reputation as being maybe a little bit boring, that our products are not quite as sexy as B2C, and maybe our marketing and advertising isn't as creative. Is that true? Is B2B marketing just not as creative as B2C?
I don't think so. I mean, obviously I've spent my whole career in B2B marketing positions, but what I find fascinating, we work with a lot of commerce clients, right? So I spend time with our CMOs and they are always shocked, I think, to hear how similar my world is to theirs, and that I'm dealing with privacy, that I'm dealing with acquisition costs, and all of that. It's the same problems that they face, and there's a lot of similarities. And in some ways, I think creativity in B2B is just different. Because when we talk about creativity, we tend to think about the actual creative of your campaign, and I think we can be incredibly creative in B2B. But I actually think we have to be more creative in how we connect with the consumers. Like, our customer journeys are more complex in some ways. They're longer buying cycles, longer decision processes. And so in many ways, I think it's actually more creative. It's just maybe not that traditional association of what creative is. Actually, we, I don't know if you know this because we didn't talk about this earlier, but we actually launched our very first brand campaign last year.
Oh, wow.
And you can imagine me trying to pitch the idea of doing a brand campaign to a bunch of performance marketers. And I was like, no, really, we really do need to go up funnel here. And what we were able to see is like the incredible lift that it had on our demand gen program too. And so we had almost a 280% increase in site traffic, which then had a trailing impact of write-ins and sales pipeline and then revenue. And so it's been incredible. We did a 6-week test, October, November of last year. And then we tested again in the spring just to see different seasonality, what happened. It had the same impact. It's been incredible. So I'm a big believer in brand campains, brand performance, if
brand
you will.
Performance, absolutely, Well, you spoke of the challenges there in terms of pitching to performance marketers, and I've certainly been through that myself as well. What do you think the biggest challenges are when it comes to creativity in B2B?
Creativity kind of takes a different form, and I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but thinking through what is really going to resonate with your buyer, and you have different buyer personas, and you have different, complex audiences in some cases if you have multiple service lines or multiple offerings or SaaS. And so I think coming up with a good creative idea that's really going to resonate is extremly important. And we were able to tap into our brand campaign is Rethink Performance. So sort of challenging marketers on what you might think about some of the complex challenges we face today, from privacy to walled gardens to all of that you might think that this, but actually there's an opportunity to see it in a different light. And I think getting that right in the upfront is so important, but it's so much about the media plan too. One of the things that we did, we wanted to kind of eat our own dog food a little bit, or wait, we're in Cannes, so we have to drink our own champagne, I guess is a better way to say it. But is to really kind of put our marketing out there in the way that we would recommend for our clients to be doing it. So we tested streaming, we used first-party data, we brought it sliced with digital first creative, all the things that we recommend clients do. That's how we did the campaign ourselves, and it's pretty great because we can go back to them and use ourselves as a case study.
Absolutely, Hashtag drink our own champagne, I think.
That's right.
Are there any brands that you think are doing it well, like whether it's right now, or even kind of greatest of all time, and any B2B campaigns that you have liked in the past year or in the past?
Well, gosh, I want to say my own, but that would be really self-serving.
Well,
so no,
I
don't know. I think some of the work that is resonating with me the most right now is on the consumer side, and that's not a diss at B2B, but I think there's a lot of really interesting purpose-driven messaging and initiatives that are happening, and I think that's kind of an interesting way for us to lean in on the B2B side. And we do this a lot internally by really establishing strong culture and being, a people-first organization, and looking at, how are you engaging talent? How are you evolving what your culture means? But I think what we really need to do as B2B marketers is take that message externally more than we do today, not just for the purpose of recruiting, but actually to let our clients know and the other brands that we work with know that this is these are our values, and this is what it will be like if you work with us. And I think there's opportunity to do more of that.
Love that. So looking forward, what do you think the top areas are that B2B marketers should be focused on maybe in the coming year?
I think brand performance continues to be incredibly important, and I think we're in kind of trying times right now. We've been living in unprecedented times for 2 years, right? We're all exhausted of that. But I think as the world and the climate around us is going to put pressure on budgets, it's going to put pressure on how we are pivoting and constantly proving value. And so I think in that time where you're going to need to oscillate a little bit more fluidly between brand and performance. They can't live independently of each other anymore.
Yeah.
And so I think that is going to be an area that B2B marketers are either going to rise or fall if they don't get that right.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is so fun.
No problem. Very insightful conversation. Thank you everybody for watching at home. I hope you all got a lot from that. I know I certainly did. So thanks for joining and see you all soon.